Good evening. We present the news summary. Many people are suffering from allergies due to black fungus gnats, a black-winged insect that usually comes out at night. According to the Ministry of Health, the number of people reporting to the clinics because of this type of allergy is less than previous years. The last time there was a major infestation of black fungus gnats was around 2015-2016. The Chief Biosecurity Officer at the Department of Agriculture, Randy Stravans, says 2 of the 15 species found in Seychelles are endemic.
In nature, this insect, black fungus gnat, their function is to help in decomposition of leaves and dead wood in the forest or even at home. But it's a problem for us humans. What we identified is that there is a process we call pathogenesis, that the female, they go into that process, they can reproduce without the presence of a male. And when they do that, it's double the reproduction in the presence of a male, and they double the reproduction of female. So you can imagine what will happen. The population of female reproduce, and that's why we have this population explosion.
The German TV channel, Deutsche Welle, a state-owned international broadcaster, recently aired a short documentary entitled Seychelles Uncovered, the heroin crisis in paradise. In this investigative report, the Deutsche Welle journalist Tessa Clara Walter claims to uncover what she calls Seychelles' dark secret, which is the highest rate of heroin use in the world. The program will be aired on SBC One at 9 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, the 5th of February. The Red Cross Society of Seychelles and the Seychelles Defense Forces launched a third appeal for aid for Madagascar. This was in a press conference this morning. The SDF will be in Majenga, Madagascar in April to extend a helping hand to those most in need. The Red Cross are asking for consumables such as food and water rather than clothes, as they are stocked up on the latter. The number to call is 4374-544 or 2-521-964. Members of the education management team from schools and the Ministry of Education gathered for a symposium to analyze the results of the SACMEC study. The study is conducted every 5 years, and today was the 5th edition. The Ministry of Education says the result of the study will be discussed with other key partners in education to see how best to move forward and what should be implemented to improve results. Ombudsman Georges Roubaix said he has revamped his office and its work structure. Mr. Roubaix was speaking after he had presented the annual report of the Office of the Ombudsman.
From the moment I started in May 2024, we've reviewed the office, the structures, so to develop it into an institution as we've seen it in the Constitution, which is essentially the constitutional media of state, which is the bridge between the people and their government. And that's the theme of the report, which is the Ombudsman, a bridge to accountability, transparency, and good governance. So we had very fruitful discussions in regards to how do we reinforce those structures so that the Ombudsman can take that role as that independent and impartial mediator of state. In the report, we discussed the structure of the office, and how can we reinforce that office so it can take that role. So I spent a good amount of time in 2024 developing first the administrative and financial structure of the office. We need to recognize that offices require a certain level of administration and finance to run the day-to-day office necessities. And as the Ombudsman, when I came into office, because we didn't have a dedicated finance officer, I spent a majority of my time actually doing administrative and financial work. Obviously, that's not sustainable, where the Ombudsman needs to take its actual constitutional function, which is that mediator role. So a part of that, we created a system so we could have a senior finance officer come, and we used a flexible secondment agreement with the Seychelles Human Rights Commission, which reduced costs and allowed us to have that financial expert to allow us to run the office according to the various financial laws in Seychelles. Secondly, what we needed was to formalize procedures. So I've spent the last 8 months drafting comprehensive procedures for the office to exercise its powers under Schedule 5. So under Schedule 5, the Ombudsman has the same power as a judge of the Supreme Court in relation to investigations. But to execute that power, the Constitution in Schedule 5 requires comprehensive procedures. So that's what I've developed and should be operational by the end of February, where we will start with those investigative procedures.
Celia Mongrou has presented her credentials as Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary for Seychelles to President Ramkalawan. Ms. Mongrou has an educational background in finance, economics, and international trade law. She holds the position of Executive Director in the Office of the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, National Planning and Trade. And Seychelles and Denmark can engage more in the aspects of maritime security, climate change, and tourism. The new Danish ambassador, Stefan Schorschanman, said this after presenting his credential to President Ramkalawan this morning at the State House. He described the relationship between the two countries as long-standing and warm, and where both countries share the same views on several issues. Mr. Schorschanman will be based in Nairobi, Kenya.
Seychelles is a strong believer in the international global institutions, came out strongly on some of the crises that we are still seeing, and as I said, engaging in a number of partnerships. That role is important, and we strongly support that. Then between the Seychelles and Denmark, we've discussed whether on the maritime area we can do more on energy, climate adaptation.
This was the news summary. More details at 8 p.m.